Hi everyone, welcome back to Nails by Sora. So today I'm going to be doing something that I've had it in mind to do for a while, and that's some ice cream on cupcake nails. Now I'm kind of looking at an image of a cake cone, because since my nails, or the nails I'm using, are coffin, I didn't want to use a standard pointed waffle cone because then it would look weird when it goes off the edge. So I'm using a cake cone, which has always been my preference in ice cream cones anyway. And I'm going to try to blend these colors together into a reasonable facsimile of what a cake cone would look like. So I'm taking 3 colors, all by Madame Glam. This is Are We Lost that I'm using right now. The lighter yellow is Querida, and the brown is High Roller. And I'm just going to try to blend them together to get some sort of a reasonable facsimile of what a cake cone looks like, the tonality, the shadows. And I'm just going to be going back and forth, blending them together into some sort of an ombre. Now the image that I'm looking at, the shadowing is in the front. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm not worrying about wiping my brush off in between. I'm just lightly blending them together, and I'm going to do a couple of coats to get the depth and opacity that I want in the blend. The brush I'm using is a baby blender by Nails by Dev. And it's one of my favorite brushes to use for smaller areas, although this is kind of a larger swath of space, but that's okay. I'm going to go in and cure in a moment. I just want to bring up the yellow a little bit on this side. I'm not going to worry about the edging here because the ice cream, when I go in to lay that in, is going to cover it. So I don't need a perfect line. Did I get color underneath the nail? Yes, I did. All right, I'm gonna go and blend this. I'm gonna go and cure this. I'm gonna move this out of the way because I have my lamp tilted up. I've been having trouble since these nails are a little bit long, that when I take this off the stand, it falls over. So I've tilted the lamp up so that the light is further away from the nail and I get a better cure. I'm just gonna pop this whole thing. Actually, I'm gonna pop it on the smaller stand I have. I'm gonna pop it on that. Sneak it under the lamp, get that going for 60 seconds, and then come back for the second coat. Now going back in with the second coat, just more of the same thing. Just want to really build up that opacity so you can't see through to, see through the nail. You could always put a white base on, but it's not necessary. All right, I'm gonna cure that second coat, and then we're going to go in with some detailing where I'm gonna bring in some of the darker brown to get the shadows, because if you're familiar with the cake cone, you've got those raised ridges of the patterning in the waffle cone. So I'm gonna try to recreate some of that, and then we're going to go into laying in the ice cream. Alrighty, so now I'm going in with one of my detail liners. I'm just gonna wet a little bit because I want to loosen up the bristles. I do have a mixture of isopropyl alcohol and acetone off to the side, and I've mixed them because it's going to be a little bit less harsh on the bristles. Repeated use of acetone on the bristles will wear them away and dry them out and make it a little bit less easy to use. I think I'm going to start off, I added some white to my palette, and I want to mix the yellow with it to get those highlights. And I am using gel polish, not gel paint, just because, for one, I have more variety of colors, and also it's going to cure a little bit better if you know, I really want to build up the color and put on slightly thicker layers, it's going to make it a little bit easier to get it to cure. So I'm just gonna get the hairs off the palette for one. Mix it until I get the shade that I'm looking for. I'm gonna turn my computer back on so I can see my reference picture. And then I'm going to draw in my reference points. So we've got a horizontal line that's somewhat of a smile line. That's the base of the top part of the waffle cone. And then we've got one up here as well. And you can see I'm not trying to go from side to side. I'm starting at a midway point, and then I'm pulling it in opposite directions so I can get the lines even, or as even as possible. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then there's a smaller line down here. All right, just want to do a little bit of cleanup. And then I think I'm going to use a dotting tool to mark out the points of the diamonds. And we're gonna go here and here. Now you can see some of the dots I put down in the wrong locations. So I will clean that up in a moment. All right, that looks about right. And then we're going to have your horizontal line right here, or vertical line rather. All right, I'm gonna cure that after I fix this here. And then I'm going to go in and do some shadowing. All right, so for the shadowing, I'm going to go in with the darker brown high roller, but I'm going to bring it down a bit with some of the mid-tone. And I'm just going to go on the inside of the highlight. I think, let's see. That's fine, okay. I cleaned off my brush a little and wet it, and I'm just going to bleed that line out. Almost like I'm doing an ombre. So So I'm going to go in and do that to the right of each highlight. Now, the further it gets to one side, the less of a shadow there is. So I'm going to bleed it out a little bit more so that it's a little bit more subtle. All right, and then there is kind of a dark drop shadow underneath the lip here, because this area is recessed. You know, I keep feeling like something's crawling on my arm, and it's my hair because I have it down. I keep getting distracted because I think I've got something on me, and I don't. It's just my hair. And then I'm just going to fade this out a little bit as well. And if you go over that white, no worries. You can always go back over it and redefine it. All right, I'm going to cure that before I move on so that I don't inadvertently make a mistake and have to wipe the work that I like. I'm just going to go in and touch this up a second. All right, moving right along. Now for the center of the diamonds, I'm going to go in and just lay in some swaths of color, some patches. And I'm going to go from kind of dark to light, sort of. It's a little darker in the center. I went a little lighter than I should have. Too lighter towards the edges. And then I'm going to accent the shadow areas with a bit of a drop shadow. Okay, so we've got our cone in place, and now I'm kind of on the fence because I had initially planned on doing 3 scoops, but I just saw this really interesting clip art with soft serve and the shadowing of the ripples of the ice cream on top of the cone. So now I kind of want to do that. And if this was alive, I would ask you what you want me to do, but it's not alive. So I kind of got to make my own decision. The other question is, what flavors do I want to do? What colors? We could do vanilla. We could do like the trifecta, vanilla, chocolate, and pistachio. What should I do? Okay, I think I'm going to try to go in and do the clip art version. Hovering to zoom. And I'm going to use the frosting gel, which is a thicker 3D style gel to kind of create the whorls and the ridges. So I'm just going to paint it on and kind of like leave the pattern in place so that when I paint over it, you get that depth. All right, I'm gonna cure that for a full 60 seconds, and then I think my base color is going to be the same kind of tone of pink that's in the picture that you can't see. Okay, so for the first scoop, I'm gonna mix together these 3 colors, because I really don't have a color that matches what's in the picture. This Gentle Coral, Oh My God, Pink, and 50 Shades of Pink. So I'm gonna lay those off to the side. I'm going to take my cone and I'm going to go in with some color. Yeah. All right, that's the first coat. I am going to go in with the second coat, but I'm going to cure that and then we'll move on to the next coat. I'm going to do this subsequent scoops or flavors the same way. I'm just going to build from the bottom up. All right, so I've got my ice cream cone here. Loving the way it looks. I love the 3D nature, but I think I want to nest a cherry in there somehow. So actually, maybe I was going to just paint it on, but maybe I'll do a 3D cherry too. Because, you know, why not? Once you go 3D, you don't go back. I'm gonna set this aside a moment. I've got my reds already on the palette with a little bit more white, but I need my spatula, which I'm going to wet with a little bit of my cleaning solution, and I'm going to pull that out. Now be aware that it's always going to look like you need more than you do. So I'm actually going to take half of that and put the rest back. Then I'm going to take a little bit more of the alcohol and I'm going to roll this into a ball. Oop! Plopped it in the wrong spot. Where did it go? There it is. Off to the side. Does it look bad over there? You can tell me. I won't mind. Where do I want you? Do I want here? Yeah, I think I want you over here. So I've got the whirl of the ice cream curving over. So I think I'm going to put this here. And it's not sticking. Why are you not sticking? Not into the gel polish. Let's see. I think I'm going to put a little bit of base coat there just to hold it down until I can cure it. I'm gonna roll that again because it got a little bit misshapen. Maybe I'll use my tweezers to pick it up. Stay. Now I do want to blend the bottom of it down into the gel. Now I just had to figure out what I'm going to use to create the stem. I have these threads that I got from, it's Magpie Beauty. I want to use a red thread, red thread, red thread, red thread. Let's cut a little piece off. Oh, well, that's interesting. How many threads did I pull out without realizing it? We will clean that up in a bit. Let me see if I can attach this little piece. Stick it in there. Perfecto. Into the lamp to cure. All right, so I've got my cherry. I've got my stem, which is nicely stuck in there. Bear in mind, obviously, that this is an art nail. This piece is still soft. I could theoretically coat it in gel to stiffen it up, but I'm not going to do so because this is just for fun. If it was on your nail though, I would advise doing something to secure it a little bit more securely. But I'm just going to go in and paint the cherry. And then figure out what I'm gonna do with the background. And whether or not I'm up for doing the cupcake tonight. I think I might push that to another night. But I'm gonna do the same thing that I did with the rest of the design and do some shadowing where applicable. And we're back to day 2 of ice cream cones and cupcakes on nails. It's been a split second for you, but it's been 24 hours or darn near close to 24 hours for me. And we're continuing on with the cupcake portion of ice cream cones and cupcakes. And I've got 4 different colors here that I'm going to work into the design of the cupcake liner. And this one is more of a watercolor inspiration, but I think I'm going to do the same treatment as I did with the ice cream cone, where it's in part 3D. So actually I'm gonna take some white also to work in for the highlights. All right, so I'm gonna draw the outline of, actually no, I'm just gonna go in with the mid-tone color, as it were, and draw the top of the cupcake liner and then bring it down and fill it in. I am going to be leaving most of the strokes in to give that feeling of the crinkling of the paper. So I'm going to be a little bit more rough and ragged with the treatment. And then I'll blend it somewhat, but most of it's going to be pretty raw with sharp edges. So that's going to be the first coat. I'm going to do a full 60-second cure, and then I'm going to go in with some deepening shadows and brighter highlights. All right, so we've got the cupcake liner done. I may go in and further accent the highlights later, but I want to go in and get the cake portion of the cupcake done. And it's only peeking out just over the lip of the cupcake liner and underneath the frosting. But I want to lay that in, and as with the waffle cone from yesterday or from, a few moments ago, if you've been watching the whole time, which I hope you have, it's the same colors as the waffle cone. So I'm gonna go in with the midtones and the highlights and the shadows and kind of just blend the colors to get somewhat of a reasonable looking vanilla cake. So I'm going in with the brighter yellow first. And then I'm going to go in and blend the highlights and shadows. Alrighty, moving right along. Now that we've got our cupcake and we've got our cupcake liner, I'm going to go in and start putting in the 3D gel. This is the frosting, the same gel that I used before by Madame Glam. I'm just going to kind of create the raised strokes so that I can get that pattern going. When you're using a piping bag and you're piping frosting, if you use different style tips, you get those ridges from the frosting standing up straight. So that's what I'm putting in now. And as before, I'm going to go in reverse order from the bottom to the top. It's not important to use a lot. You just want to create those ridges. So you can scrape away a little bit. And every time you pull the brush through, it's going to create those ridges in different spaces. All right, so now I'm going to cure that. And I'm going to go in with the first layer of color. All right, so I finished the main components of this cupcake nail. I'm absolutely in love with it. I love the rough strokes. It's very painterly, very, she just used a palette knife feeling. And now I want to add in some sprinkles. So I have this confetti glitter from Madame Glam that I'm just going to, I'm not going to put it over the top. I just want to put it over the background. And then I may go in and do some bauble type things, if that's an accurate way of describing something. Basically, like the way I did the cherry with the 3D glitter, I may go in and use some of that, but I may go in and use some gems. I haven't decided yet, because I kind of want the glitter to be on the cupcake, not the glitter, the confetti sprinkles to be on the, why are they all the colors grouping together, really? On the cupcake itself, but I don't want it to get lost and look overwhelming, so to speak. Why won't you just go where I want you? Come here. And I have a feeling that it may start to look a little overwhelming. So I may just leave the background confetti and then maybe add some things on the accent nails. All right, I think that may be enough for this nail. I'm going to cure this, and then I'm going to go over it with some top gel so that it's not sticky and it finishes the nail. And then we're going to do some fun accent nails. All right, so I've got my accent nails, and they are 2 coats into Viola. I'm gonna leave one bare for now, because I'm gonna just cover it in the confetti. And the others I'm going to do a French accent on it with different colors. So I'm going to start out with Besame, which is my brush clean? Let's make sure it's clean. Which is this lovely turquoise blue. I'm going to go for a rather deep smile line. So I'm going to draw my vertical line up the center. I'm going to cross my T, and then I'm going to pull it up from the edge to the center, and then follow it down the other side. I'm just going to neaten it up to make sure it's even on both sides. Now I'm going to go in with the bottle brush to fill in the tip. Fill in the tip. beautiful. I love this color. Now, ordinarily, I would do 2 coats, but it's a pretty opaque color. So I'm just gonna lay a little bit extra down and pull it vertically towards the tip to help direct the flow of the color so that it self-levels. This is just me being persnickety. All right, I'm gonna cure that, and then I'm going to go in with another color, if I can figure out what I'm doing here. All right, cure that, and then I'm going to go in with, oh my God, what am I doing? With Gentle Coral. So I do have Gentle Coral already on my palette. And I'm just going to do the same thing. All right, before I cure this, I just want to make sure I line up both nails so that they're even. And they are pretty darned. Good job, Stephanie. I am going to just cap this edge a little bit. I am going to end up filing that little bump at the tip because I didn't file it as well as I thought I did. All right, I think that's a little uneven. I think it dips a little bit more on the left. So I decided that this other nail looks a little weird, not having a French tip. So I'm going to go and put one in with a lighter shade of pink. All right, so the final step before top coating is to put a little something something on the tip to tie all the nails together, and that's going to be some confetti for some sprinkles. Let me use this brush. Be easier to spread it out. All right, I'm gonna do that with the rest of the nails, and I'm going to top coat, and then I will be back to wrap it up. All right, everyone, so this is the finished set. I had so much fun doing these nails. I hope you had as much fun watching it as I had fun creating them. If you have any comments or questions, please put them down in the comments section below. I do want to apologize for the first part of this video with the ice cream cone. My lighting wasn't where it should be, the settings on my phone. So it's a little dark. I'm going to try to fix it in post. But all the information of the products I used will be in the description box below. If you have any comments or questions, please put them in the comment section below. Please do hit that like and subscribe button so that I can continue to bring you more content. And as always, thank you so much. I love you guys. You really help make this channel what it is, and I look forward to bringing you more videos like this. Some videos different. Whatever you want to see, just let me know and I will try to bring it to you as best as I can. But until then, enjoy the rest of your day, evening, morning, and I will see you soon. Bye.